This is the EnergyMakers Show, featuring the innovators, financiers, and policymakers focused on the global energy demand. Brought to you by NRG, moving clean energy forward. And here's your host, Paul Dickerson.
Hi, I'm Paul Dickerson, and welcome to another episode of the EnergyMakers Show. First up today, Russ Capper sits down with Craig Beckman, CEO of Miox Incorporated, this company from Albuquerque, New Mexico, helping clean water by bringing better chemistry to the well site.
Welcome back to the EnergyMakers Show. My guest now, Craig Beckman, President and CEO of Miox Corporation. Craig, welcome to the EnergyMakers Show.
Thanks, Russ. Good to be here.
All right, and we're talking about water today, and more specifically, clean water. So with that, tell us about Miox.
Sure. Miox has its history in water treatment. For 15 years, we've produced an alternate form of chlorine for drinking water and swimming pools. We're now leveraging that technology base to look at what other chemistries we could produce on-site, on demand for industrial customers. The technology goes back to the Los Alamos labs, where they had a grant from the U.S. government to focus on electrochlorination and coming up with a more effective process. What they found in that research was that not only could they make a more effective treatment with a form of chlorine, but they could also change the attributes of that product with changing the design of the electrolytics that it was made in to come up with different applications.
Okay, so city municipalities were and have been a key customer.
Yes, so most of our installed base today is for drinking water. We are an alternative to either gas or liquid bleach, a form of chlorine. Chlorine is by far and away the most common and effective treatment for drinking water globally. However, the forms it comes in typically in the past have been either gas or liquid, and both have significant safety risks in handling.
Okay, and so the Miox method, which involves what, overcomes this?
Yeah, so the Miox method actually involves taking salt to the site. So instead of delivering a hazardous chemical, you're delivering inert salt. In addition, the volume is much less because it's 100% salt, which we turn into the chlorine on site. So you deliver the salt, you mix it with water that's already on site, activate it through our machine, and you can create the chlorine that is used at that site on demand and as they need it each day in a much safer fashion.
Okay, well, describe the machine or machines.
Sure. So electrolytic cell technology is basically electricity. So we have a positive side of the cell and a negative side, and we create a brine solution, just salty water, run that through the electrolytic cell, and it converts that brine to a form of chlorine that then is stored in a tank and then used on demand at that pool or that municipality or that wastewater plant.
Okay, and so this might be a washing machine size piece of equipment?
Sure, depends on how much flow they want to treat. So, for example, we just did a small community in New Mexico that had a population of maybe 300 people. That system was the size of a home water softener, maybe a foot in diameter, 4 feet tall.
Okay.
We also treat water in Bogota, Colombia. That plant is the size of a couple large refrigerators with some tanks that are 10 feet in diameter.
Okay, so along the way, as you said in the very beginning, it was determined, wow, there's a lot of additional opportunity for cleaning water, and that's kind of moved you into the space of the EnergyMakers Show.
It has, yeah. So we've made a pretty dramatic shift in the last 2 years of focusing on some industrial verticals, specifically cooling in the energy production area, and oil and gas, really focused on the upstream and midstream segment in looking at what specialty chemicals they use today that we could replace that would give them a much greener and safer alternative.
Well, I can tell you that based upon the guests that we've had on the EnergyMakers Show, there's a lot of interest in being able to do that today. So are you having success?
We are, yes, we are having success. We've had a number of customers run trials with our chemistry already for frac flowback and frac treatment. So today in the fracking industry, the raw material for a frac is water, sand, a propellant, and a disinfectant. The disinfectant they use today is relatively hazardous and not easily handled. And we can offer an alternative that's both easier to handle, and if there ever was a contamination, would be much safer because it's the same chemical they use in their pool or their drinking water.
Okay, wow, impressive. So, I mean, from what we've seen, there's the debate on the amount of water being hauled around and both clean and dirty, and,
Sure.
and we hear about people trying to reuse the water. I assume that you sort of play in all those categories.
We do play. So that water that's used in the fracking, percentage, maybe 10 to 30%, depending on the formation, comes back up to the surface in the first month after the well is drilled. The preferred solution for that water is to put it back into another frac so that it doesn't have a chance to contaminate anything else. However, that water often has high chemical demand and often actually does carry some bacteria, or it could grow bacteria as it's stored before it goes into the next frac. So again, our chemistry can treat that water so it could be more effectively reused.
What happens if you put water back in that has bacteria in it?
Yeah, so if you put water or sand, either one, the things they're concerned about, that have bacteria, they have the potential to create what are called sulfur-reducing bacteria blooms or growth that can both slow down the production of the well and also create byproducts such as hydrogen sulfide that make the oil or gas more expensive and difficult to refine once it does come up to the surface.
Okay. Well, it must be exciting time for your board and your owners and everybody in the company right now to be suddenly focused on this huge new industry.
Yes, very much so. Our history in the municipal segment is certainly still part of our business, but we see much more explosive growth in these areas because we're addressing problems that are critical and potentially can open up more energy development.
Okay. Well, Craig, I really appreciate you coming in and sharing your story.
Thanks, Russ. Pleasure.
You bet. That's Craig Beckman, the president and CEO of Miox Corporation. We'll be back with more after this.